Journaler, welcome to the Crafty Journaler. I am Sarah, the Crafty Journaler, and this channel is geared towards junk journal crafts. So, for example, today we're gonna be starting a junk journal. So we're gonna start it from A to Z, and it'll probably be divided into different like little episodes so that you could easily follow along and not be overwhelmed. Or we're gonna later on do more ideas for ephemera. We can also explore tools for our junk journaling and so on and so forth. So if that's something that you're interested in, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Give us a like and make sure to turn on that notification bell. That way you are up to date every single time that I post up. Right now I'm trying to post up at least once a week, and sometimes I'll probably try to do more if that's possible, but right now once a week is probably what's more feasible for me. And what else can I tell you about myself? I do also have a account on TikTok that has been open since 2020. However, it's not very active because I am trying to transition over to YouTube. And so if you want to help me grow here on YouTube, please make sure to subscribe. And even watching this video is help enough, so I'm already very grateful. Today we're gonna be doing this junk journal, and this is gonna be our prototype. So this is gonna be like our inspiration to get this one done. And I like to call this one the little neutral book. And basically it's because it's very neutral in colors and tones. There's gonna be light neutral blue colors and greens in it, but for the most part it's just what it is. It's a neutral toned book. And this book is about 475 by 6, and it's 2-inch spine with a 3 spine, and I believe there's 30 pages in here. So front and back it adds up to, actually I'll do the math and get back to you on that one. But yeah, and so this is gonna be our inspiration of how we're gonna construct and set up our new junk journal that we're gonna be doing. And now it's not going to be exactly the same. None of my journals ever come out exactly the same. They're all slightly different. They all have their own unique twist to them and stuff. So it's not going to be exactly like that one, but it's definitely going to be beautifully unique to itself. So what do you need? You're going to need a book that you no longer need, or no longer use, or maybe it's starting to tear apart, or you just don't really like that book and you don't really know what to do with it. This is something that you could do with it. So a junk journal is basically a journal that is done with like things that we would recycle or throw away, and we just kind of breathe new life into it. So again, a book. You could also buy a book at like the Dollar Tree. They have some nice like hardcover books that are pretty inexpensive, and make sure that it's not something that you're gonna want to read, or if you do read, make sure you read it first and then see if you find any value, so on and so forth. There's a lot of layers to junk journaling, especially I know there's some people that don't really enjoy the part where we tear these apart, but the way I like to explain is that it's not necessarily because we're trying to destroy this book, but we are trying to give this book a new life or a meaningful outcome. Some of these books are usually going to be ending up in some landfill or something, and it's better to do something beautiful with them than throwing them away. So that's just a little side note. So a book, and what are we gonna do with this book? So the book, we're gonna do what I think it's called gutting, and we're gonna be removing all the innard of the book. So we're gonna make sure to fold it out, try to pop it out, and then we're just gonna cut it down all the way down. So we're gonna remove all of the inside, and we'll do that with a cutter. And then once we have it cut up, we're gonna I did some of this ahead of time because I didn't want to eat too much into our time. So we're gonna either collage, masterboard, however it is that you know this as. We're gonna masterboard or collage onto our cover. There's different ways of doing it. The way I do it is I kind of do a light layer underneath and glue the paper down, let that dry, and then I'll do a light layer of Mod Podge over it, and that just adds a little like security so it won't break as easy or tear apart as easy. It gives it some strength and affordability to like maneuver and stuff. And if you do it just right, like it won't be sticky or anything like that. Depending on where you're at, it could take anywhere between like 5 minutes to like 45 to fully cure, especially in like humid weather. So there's something to keep in mind when using Mod Podge. And once you cover your book, you're gonna then make your spine. For example, in this spine, it was a 1-inch spine, and it was kind of like falling apart and powdery. It was ready to be put away. So what I did is I made another one, and I did that with cardboard. And this is the little strip that was left out of this one. So I just measured it to the size, made sure that it's equal to both sides. And then I measured the width that I wanted, which is 2.5 inches. I marked it, and then I cut it with my cutter and a ruler, using a ruler as like a scorer so that I wouldn't go crooked and stuff. And then after I did that, I got a piece of, 1 second, I have it right here. It's just underneath a couple of things. So a few years ago, my husband gave me some bouquet. He usually gives me a bouquet of flowers for my birthday, Christmas, on Valentine's, and it's so cute. But I always end up with these, and I never want to throw them away. So I use them for my junk journals. And so what I did is I just glued that on here, and then wrapped it into itself, so covered. And then I also did a piece of fabric right here, and I Mod Podged it onto there as well. And then I went ahead and sewed all around. Now with this one, the Mod Podge didn't come across looking the way this one does. So for example, a second, what's going on here? Okay, there we go. So for this one, as you could probably see, it looks nice and even, right? So nice and even. So I'm not really sure why it came across like this time around, but if that's something that's gonna bother you how it looks, you could either cover it now with another piece of paper and you just glue it on there and call it a day, or you could also make sure it gets covered when you put in your signatures. And once you put in your signatures, that'll probably be taken care of. So whatever way you decide to go, it's gonna be okay. So I actually think that I'm gonna go ahead and cover this. So I'm gonna get a piece of paper, measure it out, and cover that, just because I want to make sure that it is aesthetically pleasing to look at, because you want whoever ends up with this book later on to find every single part of it as beautiful as you would. So I will be right back, and let me measure that out and we'll go ahead and glue that on together. Okay, I'm back. So I had some scraps from when I cut this out, which was perfect because I'll just use that in here as well. And we're gonna go ahead and glue it onto here with some fabric fix. And this is a silicone based glue. You could glue paper to fabric, fabric to paper, and metal. You could glue many different kinds of materials together, and it's a really strong hold glue, and it's also workable, so you have some time to make sure that everything is at the level that you like. So we'll go ahead and do that now. I want to make sure that all the edges are covered nicely, so I start right at the edge, as close as the edge as I can get it, and then kind of spread as much love on there. Also, try not to overdo it, of course, but making sure it's gonna have a good amount. And then we're gonna line it up to here. And we're gonna glue it down, and we'll hold it down for a little bit. Okay. That's good. Cover up our glue. Okay, and now we're just gonna have to figure out our top and bottom. So I want this to be like this. So this is our top, and this is gonna be our bottom. And I'm gonna put the top facing me, and we're gonna do the same with this one. So this is our front, and this is gonna be our top, and then our bottom. And we're gonna glue this down with the same glue that we just used, which is the Fabri-Fix. And again, this is a silicone based permanent glue, and it adheres to a lot of different stuff on there. It says fabric, lace, leather, trims, and more. And you can find this on Amazon. I also know that there's people here that use the fabric tag, which I believe is the same thing. I just like this one a little bit better. But when I can't find this one, I usually use the other one as well. And so we're gonna make sure to cover this, but we also want to make sure not to use too much glue, because then it's gonna look weird on our fabric. But we do want to make sure we cover this nicely. So like a healthy balance, and then hope for the best. There we go. And we're gonna turn it around, and we're gonna do the same thing again. We're gonna put down some glue. And then right here, I will add a little bit more in the inner of it. And then I do this fun motion with my nails, and then bloop, bloop, bloop. And we have our front part, our front of our book onto our spine. And now we're gonna do the opposite side. So Oh, also you make sure to leave this little piece between the spine and like a little space between the spine and the cover. That way it's easy to open and close, and it's not gonna be tearing apart as easy as well. Okay, and then we're gonna turn it around. We'll tap it. So, it's starting to get a little dark in here, so let me turn on the lights and adjust lighting here. Okay, so we're gonna be gluing this right here, like so. And we're gonna do it with our silicone based glue. And this, again, it's a pretty good glue to use. It's fair warning, it does have a slight smell to it. So if you're not fond of like smells, it'll have a smell, but once it dries, that smell will go away. And so yeah, like you'll be able to use it with other stuff. And I like using it because I've actually noticed how different of an adhesion it gives as opposed to like a white base glue or a water based glue. And the drying is pretty nice too. And the fun thing is that it doesn't make like a bulky situation or anything like that. Okay. You just spread it down, put some weight on it too as you're doing that. And then we're going to do this right here. And we just hold it down a little bit. You could also like put, if you want to make sure it adheres nice and even and everything, you can put some weight on it. It does dry kind of quick, but it's still workable, so you should be fine if you don't do that as well. So once that is done, what we're gonna do now is make like our holes so that we could sew in our spine. But before that, actually, we need to add some lace right here. And the reason that I usually do add the lace, like for example for this one, it's because I want to make sure that it looks a little more even, still make sure it looks nice and pretty and appealing to the eye. So, but here is our cover so far. This is our cover. Let's put that lace on there. So let me dig in my lace box and then I'll be right back. So I found these two options of lace, and then I also found this one. And I'm kind of partial to this one. I'm also liking this one, so there's also this one. So many options. And this is where my time flies, when I get very like, well, could it be this one? I think I'm gonna go with this one. I mean, although this one does have a je ne sais quoi to it, right? Let's see our contenders. You tell me which one. This one? This one? Let me think about it and I'll be right back because this might take me a minute. Okay, I'm back. I decided for this one because it's whiter and it has like little peaks, and I feel like the color is a little closer to a neutral tone as opposed to a super white one, and the other one was a little white. At least that's what I'm telling myself in my head. I'm gonna go with it right now. So we'll be using this. So we just measure that out right about so, and then we're gonna cut it. Crafting scissors instead of my fabric scissors. Oh, that's probably why we want to stick to fabric scissors. And we'll just eyeball some of the or not eyeball, but like grab it and put glue around it and try to not spill it all over the place. Okay. And then just lifting this, putting a little dot of glue there. I actually used to have this like upside down, but honestly I lost a lot of glue like that, so now I just do the pin on that, and then it works pretty well just to kind of shake it and make sure that it's not dry, because when it's not dry it'll kind of easy flow, but if you let it dry out a little bit, forget it. It's insane how hard it is to take out the glue out of it. Okay. So that. And then we're just gonna cut the little excess pieces off. So, and I am gonna keep using my fabric and my non-fabric scissors because I noticed that it tugged on it on my fabric ones, and I really don't want to ruin my fabric scissors. I've ruined so many. And my fingers just stuck to this, so there's a little glue there. But again, it's pretty workable when it's not super completely dry. It's all over my hands, so let me go wash my hands and I'll be right back, and we'll do the, actually let me do the other one first and then I'll go wash my hands. Okay, I'm gonna do the same process, so okay, and then we pat, pat, pat. let me go wash my hands and then I'll cut that off. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So now we're just gonna cut this off right here and right here. And we have our cover. So now we're gonna go ahead and do our signature holes for this. So on this one, I want to do a 4 signature spine. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna measure out our spine. So when I first started, I did this handy dandy thing. So we'll probably use this. This is actually a 5 signature, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we're gonna do a 4 signature, and I'm gonna do a 3 hole, just to keep it pretty basic. So we're gonna trying to eyeball it. So we're gonna mark it right here. We're gonna mark, oh, that was, let's forget that one. We're gonna mark it right at the middle one, and then we're gonna skip that one and we're gonna do the bottom one. Again, we're gonna do the bottom, the middle, and the way top. We're gonna do the way top, the middle, and the bottom. And once again, we're going to do the top, the middle, and the way bottom. Perfect. And then you should end up with some not very easy to see, but still visible to the naked eye marks. So, and then we're going to use our crocodile. So either use this, or you could use an awl and just poke the hole with it, but I still want to put eyelids on it, so we're gonna do a crocodile. So we're gonna do the 1/8. I got one of those faulty ones that I have a hard time sliding back and forth, and I don't know how to do all that recall thing. Plus I don't know if I missed the thing. I actually had just heard about this being a problem maybe about a month ago from one of the girls here on YouTube. And I was like, oh no, I didn't know. I thought I was just... So let me fight with this. I can get it down. It just takes a little bit, and I don't want you to see me struggle that much. So I'll be right back. You want to know what's funny is as soon as I paused it and I did it, it just slid on. So didn't really take that much time. It just likes to make me look like I'm crazy. So we just want to make sure it's... And then we're gonna make sure it's right in the middle, and we poke the hole. Do that again. That feels right. And then now we're gonna do the other side. And there we have it. We have our holes for our signature. And now we're gonna find eyelids that will look good here. I think that I'll probably do some green if I have any, so that we can match with our spine. If not, we'll see what we could do. So I have these 3mm ones, and that's a 3mm, which is a 1/8 of the crocodile. And I actually don't think I have any green. Might have some yellow, but I don't know if I have enough. I could maybe do pink. That's a little neutral, right? Will it look good though? Or I could leave them as is too. Decisions. I wish I had the other ones in that size, but I only have the... I only have the bigger size ones, so... they're not gonna work, so... I have these. Those aren't gonna work for that one. And if I punch a bigger hole on this, the spine could potentially get very weak because it is cardboard. So we're gonna work with what we have. So we have the pink one, or we have nothing. But I think the pink actually works. I don't think it looks too horrible. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the pink. So let's get all the pink ones in there, not purple. Because it's kind of pastel-y, it still has that that neutral vibe to it too, so I'm not too mad about it. I make decisions on the fly. It's not necessarily, I don't have everything set in stone. When I do that, I tend to always end up with something totally different, and then I get very like, oh, but this is not necessarily what I wanted, and it's a whole nother bridge to cross once we get there. So this is pretty much how I do things. I kind of like, if that's not gonna work, let's try something else. And that's why my journals never look the same. So okay, so now we're gonna struggle to put it back all the way. There we go. And here we go. So I'm gonna start in the middle again. So one, two, three. Sorry, my husband's calling me. Give me 1 second. Okay. He just wanted to check if I'm almost done, and I am. So, we're almost at our end here for the cover, and this will be our part 1, and then come back for part 2 when we're gonna be working on getting our signatures together, which is pretty self-explanatory. Once you see it once, you'll know how to do it forever. But yeah, so okay, and then we do this again. All right, so we have our cover, guys. This is our eyelids. We went for the pink ones. This is how they look in the inside. And this is what we are left with once we construct our journal. So I hope this helped you. Again, come back when for our next episode, or part 2, where we're gonna now be sewing in our spine, or sewing in our signatures to our spine, and possibly adding some pockets or some fun interactive stuff right here, so that we could continue to build our junk journal. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give us a like. If you are interested in keeping up with this channel, go ahead and subscribe to our channel and turn on that notification bell. That way you'll know. And that's a wrap. Bye!